Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're also paying our humble Dandavat Pranam to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam. And following the guidance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are praying to Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told us that unless we can learn something about Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī within the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam, then our study has been for waste. So keeping this in mind, we're humbly praying to Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Yadi sevā-vañcitāḥ yasyāḥ kṛpayā vayaṃ labhema sarvaṃ prāpnumaḥ prayojanaṃ dhāmni śrī-bhagavat pade Kṛṣṇa-sambandhi sarvaṃ cha Yadi na jānīmahe tutam Aṣṭādaśasu sahasreṣu ślokānāṃ bhāgavat-oktiṣu Rādhārānīṃ na vindamatада nishphalam bhagavat-yayinam Radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva-pariśramaḥ. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Rādhārānīṃ within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, all our efforts are in vain. So we are continuing our reading from Canto 5, the creative impetus. Chapter 4, characteristics of Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 16. Yadi hapi svadviritam shakala dharmam brahmam guhyam brahmanar darshita margena samadhi bhir upayer kyanatam anushasasha. Although Lord Ṛṣabhadeva knew everything about confidential Vedic knowledge, which includes information about all types of occupational duties, he still maintained himself as a Kshatriya and followed the instructions of the Brahmanas as they related to mind control, sense control, tolerance, and so forth. Thus he ruled the people according to the system of Varnashram Dharma, which enjoins that the Brahmanas instruct the Kshatriyas and the Kshatriyas administer to the state through the Vaishyas and Sudras. Purport. Although Ṛṣabhadeva knew all the Vedic instructions perfectly well, he nonetheless followed the instructions of the Brahmanas in order to perfectly maintain the social order. The Brahmanas would give advice according to the Shastras, and all the other castes would follow. The word Brahma means perfect knowledge of all activities, and this knowledge is very confidentially described in the Vedic literatures. Men trained perfectly as Brahmanas should know all Vedic literature, and the benefit derived from this literature should be distributed to the general populace. The general populace should follow the perfect Brahmana. In this way, one can learn how to control the mind and senses and thus gradually advance to the spiritual perfection. Text 17. Dravyadesha kalavaya shraddhavrit vividho desho pachitai sarvar api kratubir yato padesham sata kritva iyaja. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva performed all kinds of sacrifices 100 times according to the instructions of the Vedic literatures. Thus he satisfied Lord Vishnu in every respect. All the rituals were enriched by first-class ingredients. They were executed in holy places according to the proper time by priests who were all young and faithful. In this way, Lord Vishnu was worshipped, and the prasad was offered to all the demigods. Thus the functions and festivals were all successful. Purport. It is said, Kumara acharit pragyo dharmam bhagavatan iha. Bhagavat, Bhagavatam 7.6.1. A ritual should be performed by young men, even boys, at a tender age, in order for the ritual to be performed successfully. From childhood, people should be trained in Vedic culture, especially in devotional service. In this way, one can perfect one's life. A Vaishnava does not disrespect the demigods, but on the other hand, he is not so foolish that he accepts each and every demigod as the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is master of all demigods. Therefore, the demigods are his servants. The Vaishnava accepts them as servants of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord, and he worships them directly. In the Brahma Samhita, the important demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and even the incarnations and expansions of Lord Krishna, like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and all the other Vishnu Tattvas, as well as the Shakti Tattvas like Durga Devi, are all worshipped by the process of worshipping Govinda, with the words Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. A Vaishnava worships the demigods in relation to Govinda, not independently. Vaishnavas are not so foolish that they consider the demigods independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Shabha Britya. The Supreme Master is Krishna and all others are his servants. Text 18. Bhagavatar Shabena Parirakṣamana Etasmin Varshena Kaśchana Purusho Vañchatyavi Dhyamanam Ivatmano Nyasmat Katanchana Kimapi Karhichid Avikshate Parataryanu Savanam Vidrimbita Snehatiṣayam Antarena. No one likes to possess anything that is like a will-o'-wisp or a flower in the sky, for everyone knows very well that such things do not exist. When Lord Ṛṣabhadeva ruled this planet of Bharatavarsha, even common men did not want to ask for anything. At any time or by any means, no one ever asks for a will-o'-the-wisp. In other words, everyone was completely satisfied, and therefore there was no chance of anyone's asking for anything. The people were absorbed in great affection for the king. Since this affection was always expanding, they were not inclined to ask for anything. In Bengal, the word Goda Dimba is used, which means the egg of a horse. Since a horse never lays an egg, the word Goda Dimba actually has no meaning. In Sanskrit, there is a word Kapushpa, which means the flower in the sky. No flower grows in the sky. Therefore, no one is interested in asking for Kapushpa or Goda Dimba. During the reign of Maharaj Ṛṣabhadeva, people were so well equipped that they did not want to ask for anything. They were immensely supplied with all necessities for life due to King Ṛṣabhadeva's good government. Consequently, everyone felt full satisfaction and did not want anything. This is the perfection of government. If the citizens are unhappy due to bad government, The heads of government are condemned. During these democratic days, monarchy is disliked by the people. But here's an example of how an emperor of the whole world kept all citizens fully satisfied by supplying the necessities of life and following the Vedic principles. Thus everyone was happy during the reign of Maharaj Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 19. Sa kadhachid atmano bhagavan Ṛṣabho brahmavarta gato brahmarshi pravara sabhyam prajanam nishamayantinam atmajan avahitatmana prashraya pranayabara suyantritan apyupa sikshan iti hovacha. Once, while touring the world, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Lord, reached a place known as Brahmavarta. There was a great conference of learned brahmanas at that place, and all the king's sons attentively heard the instructions of the brahmanas there. At that assembly, within the hearing of the citizens, Ṛṣabhadeva instructed his sons, although they were already very well behaved, devoted, and qualified. He instructed them so that in the future they could rule the world very perfectly. Thus he spoke as follows. Purport. The instructions of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva to his sons are very valuable if one wants to live peacefully within this world, which is full of miseries. In the next chapter, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva gives his sons these valuable instructions. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 4th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Characteristics of Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chapter 5. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva's teachings to his sons. In this chapter there is a description of Bhagavat Dharma, religious principles in devotional service that transcend religious principles for liberation and the mitigation of material misery. It is stated in this chapter that a human being should not work hard like dogs and hogs for sense gratification. The human life is especially meant for the revival of our relationship with the Supreme Lord, and to this end all kinds of austerities and penances should be accepted. By austere activities, one's heart can be cleansed of material contamination, and as a result, one can be situated on the spiritual platform. To attain this perfection, one has to take shelter of a devotee and serve him. Then the door of liberation will be open. Those who are materially attached to women and sense gratification gradually become entangled in material consciousness and suffer the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. Those who are engaged in the general welfare of all and who are not attached to children and family are called Mahatmas. Those who are engaged in sense gratification, who act piously or impiously, cannot understand the purpose of the soul. Therefore, they should approach a highly elevated devotee and accept him as a spiritual master. By his association, one will be able to understand the purpose of life. Under the instructions of such a spiritual master, one can attain devotional service to the Lord. Detachment from material things and tolerance of material misery and distress. One can then see all living entities equally, and one becomes very eager to know about the transcendental subject matters. Endeavoring persistently for the satisfaction of Krishna, one becomes detached from wife, children, and home. He is not interested in wasting time. In this way, one becomes self-realized. A person advanced in spiritual knowledge does not engage anyone in material activity. And one who cannot deliver another person by instructing him in devotional service should not become a spiritual master, father, mother, demigod, or husband. Instructing his 100 sons, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva advised them to accept their eldest brother Bharata as their guide and lord. and thereby serve him. Of all living entities, the Brahmanas are the best, and above the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas are situated in an even better position. Serving a Vaishnava means serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, Shukadeva Goswami describes the characteristics of Bharata Maharaj and the sacrificial performance executed by Lord Ṛṣabhadeva for the instruction of the general populace. Text 1. Ṛṣabha uvacha nayam deho deha bhajam nriloke kastan kaman arhate vidbhujam ye tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam sudhyed yasmad brahma sukhyam tvanantam. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva told his sons, "My dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever." Purport. In this verse, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva tells his sons about the importance of human life. The word dehabhak refers to anyone who accepts a material body, but the living entity who is awarded the human form must act differently from animals. Animals like dogs and hogs enjoy sense gratification by eating stool. After undergoing severe hardships all day, human beings are trying to enjoy themselves at night by eating, drinking, having sex, and sleeping. At the same time, they have to properly defend themselves. However, this is not human civilization. Human life means voluntarily practicing suffering for the advancement of spiritual life. There is, of course, suffering in the lives of animals and plants, which are suffering due to their past misdeeds. However, human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain the divine life. After attaining to the divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. After all, every living entity is trying to enjoy happiness, but as long as one is encaged in the material body, he has to suffer different kinds of misery. A higher sense is present in the human form. We should act according to superior advice in order to attain eternal happiness and go back to Godhead. It is significant in this verse that the government and natural guardian, the father, should educate subordinates and raise them to Krishna consciousness. Devoid of Krishna consciousness, every living being suffers in this cycle of birth and death perpetually. To relieve them from this bondage and enable them to become blissful and happy, bhakti yoga should be taught. A foolish civilization neglects to teach people how to rise to the platform of bhakti yoga. Without Krishna consciousness, a person is no better than a hog or a dog. The instructions of Ṛṣabhadeva are very essential at the present moment. People are being educated and trained to work very hard for sense gratification, and there is no sublime aim in life. A man travels to earn his livelihood, leaving home early in the morning, catching a local train and being packed in a compartment. He has to stand for an hour or two in order to reach his place of business. Then again, he takes a bus to get to the office. At the office, he works hard from 9 to 5, then he takes 2 or 3 hours to return home. After eating, he has sex and goes to sleep. For all this hardship, his only happiness is a little sex. Yan maithunadi grihamedi shukam hi tucham. Ṛṣabhadeva clearly states that human life is not meant for this kind of existence, which is enjoyed even by dogs and hogs. Indeed, dogs and hogs do not have to work so hard for sex. A human being should try to live in a different way, and should not try to imitate dogs and hogs. The alternative is mentioned. Human life is meant for tapasya, austerity, and penance. By tapasya, one can get out of the material clutches. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, his happiness is guaranteed eternally. By taking the Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, one's existence is purified. The living entity is seeking happiness life after life, but he can make a solution to all his problems simply by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Then he immediately becomes eligible to return back home, back to Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tatvata tyaktvam deham punar janma naitimam eti sarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 2 on Wednesday. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radhakund Ki Jai, Tosa Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Jai Śrīmatī Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
श्रीपाद कृष्ण केशव प्रभु जी की जय। दंडवत प्रणाम।
Dandavati.